Good afternoon. Welcome to the third in our series of SAP webinars. Today's topic is converting SAP BW to BobJ 4.0. My name is Paul Brown. I'm VP of Consulting at Broad Street Data. I'd like to take a minute to talk to you a little bit about Broad Street Data and some of the work that we do, and also give an introduction to our presenter today, Tom Wolniewicz. So Broad Street Data is a boutique delivery and advisory company specializing in business intelligence and data integration. We're based right here in the GTA where our headquarters are, and we have a very long-standing relationship with SAP, being both an SAP Gold partner and more recently an authorized education partner. When the presentation's over, look, I'd suggest that perhaps if you visit broadstreetdata.com, you'll see a selection of our customers and some of our more recent white papers. Okay, on to our presenter today, Tom Wolniewicz. Tom has been working with data warehousing and specializing in SAP for the past 11 years, including 6 years working with SAP's BusinessObjects Professional Services Group. In the past year, Tom has led many projects for Broad Street Data as a solution architect in Rogers, Scotiabank, and ADP, to name a few. He is also a prolific speaker on all topics around SAP and business intelligence, recently having presented 2 seminars at the BusinessObjects Customer Exchange on best practices, universe design and architecture, and BusinessObjects enterprise security and disaster recovery. Okay, without further ado, I will pass you over to Tom Wolniewicz.
This afternoon, we'll be talking about the conversion of BW reporting, the front end of BW reports, into the BusinessObjects 4.0 framework. So we'll take a look at how we can integrate with the BW backend using the BusinessObjects, the various BusinessObjects tools, and how we can ease the conversion process into from BW BEX reporting to BusinessObjects. So we'll take a look at the different features that are available within BEX and BW reports, and see what types of features correlate to which of the BusinessObjects applications that we can migrate these reports to. So we'll take a look at see and to determine how we can choose the right reporting tool based on our needs. We'll take a look at more specifically the differences between BEX reports and Webby reports, some of the advantages of Webby and Web Intelligence that is now available to us within the BusinessObjects environment. We'll do a brief introduction into BusinessObjects 4.0 and take a look at the terminology and some of the architecture and the applications that are available. And further, we'll dive right into the details of each of the applications and see what capabilities they have in terms of querying BW directly. So we'll take a look at Crystal Reports, how Crystal Reports can query BW. We'll take a look at Webby, Dashboards, Excelsius, and BusinessObjects Analysis. Furthermore, we'll look at some of the authentication and security related to BusinessObjects 4.0 and how that relates to integration with BW. And we'll also look at the lifecycle and version management tool that is now part of the BusinessObjects 4.0 framework. And finally, at the end, we'll have a brief Q&A session. If anyone has any questions that, as Paul mentioned, I will take a look at and see what we can answer or get back to you afterwards, after the presentation. So we'll get started. Basically, the BEX reporting environment consists of your desktop tools, your query designer, where you build your BEX queries, where you build your BEX reports and expose them then to the user through the web tools, through the BEX browser and the BEX analyzer. So those are then available to the end users. And here we have the BEX query designer, followed by the BEX analyzer. So these are the SAP tools for displaying the front end of a BW environment. Specifically, they have different capabilities and different features. So what we need to do is we need to choose the right tool to convert our reports to. And we have 4 tools within the BusinessObjects environment available to us. And we'll take a look at each of those to see where a particular report is best suited for. For example, if we have a report that is geared towards batch processing, printing, and mass distribution, where we also very strictly care about the formatting and the exact placement of our data, Crystal Reports becomes the ideal tool for that. It is very heavily template-driven, so we can apply specific formatting and specific templates to our reports that are very strictly conformed to. Then we have our main bread and butter ad hoc tool, Web Intelligence, in BusinessObjects 4.0, which is our main ad hoc tool that allows interactive analysis of and interaction with our data and the report itself to perform various ad hoc functions, such as drill down, such as slicing and dicing, basically interacting with the report to a great degree. And we also have our dashboards tool, formerly known as Excel. SAP Dashboards is more geared towards displaying high-level KPIs and dashboards of our data. So if we want to display some key metrics and some key indicators, SAP Dashboards is the ideal tool of choice for that. Now, obviously, you can use these different tools for various purposes, and they do have some degree of overlap, but it is very important to choose the right tool for the right job. And finally, we also have BusinessObjects Analysis. This is formerly Voyager, which allows us to do our data mining and analyzing of our OLAP data source, or BW in this particular case. Next, we'll take a look at some of the feature differences between BEX reports, the main BEX reports as available to us in the Query Designer, and Webby. Probably the most fundamental difference between the two tools is one is based on your desktop, one is based in the browser. So if you want to obviously deploy to large amounts of users, it's easier to have them access a web-based URL. So they can more easily interact with these reports when they're Webby reports as opposed to BEX reports. Now, in terms of the main features that both reporting tools support, a lot of it is very, very similar. So they do have the ability to display row totals, have text variables or prompts, display exceptions and alerts, display multiple tabs and such. But the way that these reports are built is very, very different. So what we're talking about here, when we're talking about migrating your reports and converting your reports, we're not changing the backend query. We're not changing the backend BW. We're just changing the front end and how the reports are displayed. So this allows you to very easily retain all that work that you've done before and just simply migrate the front end and redevelop the front end of those reports. So in terms of Webby reports, we have of the similar capabilities of these reporting features. Now, in terms of other differences, for example, Webby offers some more advanced ad hoc reporting capabilities with drag and drop capability, with more streamlined user experience. Like I was talking before about it being all browser-based and all web-based. So it's very easy for the user to interact with without having additional tools installed on the machine. Webby has more advanced formula editing and variable definition capability as opposed to BEX Query Designer. So you have the ability to define your own variables and such. Webby also has the ability to link to other reports. Now, this can be done in your BEX reports, but it gets very complicated, and it involves the use of SAP Web GUI and such. So it's more difficult to maintain and more difficult to manage, as opposed to the same capability in Webby. Obviously, we have our advanced interactive graphing capabilities and drill down. We can drill down on graphs, and Webby allows for document sharing sent to other people's inbox and change tracking, as well as annotations in the report itself. So users can basically collaborate on the document, on the report. Now, the advantages of BEX, obviously, is that it has native portal integrations with SAP NetWeaver portal, specifically using the Web GUI. BEX relies on SAP security, so it requires that you have SAP security backend, and it only deals with SAP security. So everything related to security is handled outside of BEX itself. Whereas with BusinessObjects, you have different layers of security that are available to you. We have limited formatting and display capabilities, since we're dealing more in a very structured Excel-based environment. And it ends up not being ideally suited for dashboards or specifically formatted reports for batch printing and such. And when it comes to ad hoc reports requiring high degrees of interactivity, Webby shines, it really becomes a very, very limited tool. So in all aspects of reporting, the three main tools I mentioned before, Crystal Reports, Webby, and SAP Dashboards, all present higher degrees of capability in terms of reporting itself. Now, with the introduction of BusinessObjects 4.0, we have a brand new what's called BI Launchpad, that's formerly known as InfoView. That's your web interface and your BI portal. Included in that, obviously, is your BI workspaces, which are the dashboard views of your reports, which can display multiple reports and multiple graphs and multiple dashboards. We have the reusability and sharing capability and collaboration capability within Web Intelligence. We have the dimensional data handling capabilities and navigation of multi-source universes. We have the ability to define universes on multiple sources, as well as have reports that have data from different sources. And we have the nice and user-friendly charting and the interoperability with SAP BusinessObjects analysis, which allows for the BW and OLAP analysis. Here we see the architecture of the BusinessObjects 4.0, where we have the 5 main applications: Crystal Reports, Web Intelligence, SAP Dashboards, Explorer, and Live Office, and we also have analysis and other tools that are part of that suite that are also included in that architecture. The middle layer is the server tier. That's the web services and the web application layer. And then the bottom layer is your data. And we can deal with SAP BW and OLAP-based cubes. We can also deal with relational databases and structured and unstructured sources of data as well. Now, within the SAP BusinessObjects 4.0 framework, we have what is called BIX, the Business Intelligence Customer Services, which allows for the integration with BW backend. So this is the layer that actually controls your connectivity to BW and the querying of the BW backend. So it is the same middle tier that was available, that is available to BEX and to SAP to utilize to query the BW cubes, but is now exposed to the business objects environment. Previously, in the 3.1 world or previous generations of business objects, if you wanted to query BW, you had to go through the SAP integration kit, which was considerably slower performance and considerably more difficult to integrate. Now this becomes more streamlined, and we have the capability within the BI tools to go directly against BW through BICS. And the net result is that we get about a 300% performance gain as opposed to the previous 3.1 environment where we went through the SAP integration kit. So this is a huge gain in performance that basically will bring us up to par with the original BEX reports. So BEX reports and SAP Business Objects reports will run in about the same amount of time. Some of the new capabilities that are now exposed to the Business Objects tools is that we can go directly against BW cubes and queries. So there's no more need to create a universe. Previously in the 3.1 environment, we'd have to create a BW specific universe in order to expose a query or expose a BW cube. And we have the native support for hierarchies and dimensional metadata. So we can navigate our hierarchies, we can slice and dice our data directly. And we have access to the hierarchical query panel, which allows us to select the members, navigate the hierarchy, and apply member functions on our objects directly. We have the ability to have hierarchical report output. This is specifically in Webby and Crystal. We have the ability to fold and unfold and display level totals and hierarchical graphs within our reports. Now, this Business Objects 4.0 framework also has a tool called Information Design Tool. That's new to 4.0. That's the new universe design tool. It creates UNX universes. Now, currently, it does support multi-connectivity to different sources, so you can connect to different databases, but presently doesn't allow connectivity to BICS. This is something that will likely be available in the 4.1 release. Now we're going to take a look at some of the tools more specifically in Crystal Reports and how it can connect to BW. So within SAP Crystal Reports, we have 4 different ways of connecting to SAP data sources. We have the MDX driver, which is our BICS connectivity, that connects to BW cubes and queries directly. We also have the ODS driver, which connects to the BW operational data store, and can query the ODS objects. And we also have the InfoSet driver, which allows us to connect to ABAP queries. And finally, we also have the ability to use the classic universes, UNVs, created in the classic universe designer tool. So we can still use the BW universes that were created in version 3.1 that are using BW as a data source. And obviously the main advantage of this is that, like I mentioned earlier, we maintain the backend design and the backend logic, the backend business rules in BW and in the original BEX queries that were developed previously. So we don't have to redevelop that. We're just using that as an abstraction layer to work with our new reports and develop our new reports. Now, within Web Intelligence, like I mentioned earlier, we have the ability to connect to BICS directly. So BICS becomes our data source for our data providers within our reports. And obviously, we can have multiple data providers that can connect to different sources. And we can also use the classic UNVs that were created in the Universe Designer tool using the 3.1 method. So we have 2 ways of connecting to BW data sources in Web Intelligence. Next, we have SAP Dashboards, which is our dashboard creation tool, formerly known as Excelsius, and this can also directly go against BIX. Now, also the SAP Dashboard has now native universe integration. So this means that previously we had to use query as a web service as a data source for Excelsius, but now we can go directly against universes. So this is a lot more optimized and a lot easier to maintain and develop. This was a big disconnect with Excelsius and how queries were managed before and how they were maintained. We also have the introduction of the Excelsius processing server and the cache servers, which streamline and improve performance of Excelsius and the dashboards that get generated and displayed within the BI Launchpad and the BI workspaces. And we also have our Business Objects Analysis tool, which is known as Voyager, that can connect to BW cubes and queries as well as OLAP sources. Now, there's two versions of this tool. There's a web-based that integrates with the BI Launchpad, and there is a Excel-based that integrates directly within Excel. And we can connect to the BW backend using BIX. Okay, now on the authentication and security side, BusinessObjects 4.0 has very intricate and very detail-level security that allows you to manage both the content access as well as functional access. So if you design your security model to break these two apart, you can granularly very easily manage the security of both the content and the functional capabilities. Within BEX, this was only possible within the SAP security model, and it was very, very limited and very much more difficult to maintain. So we have also the integration with SAP security within BusinessObjects. So we have the ability to define SAP aliases to our BusinessObjects accounts or to our AD aliases that may exist in your environment, and those can be passed through to BW for authentication. We can pass through authentication directly into SAP. And finally, we have our versioning and lifecycle management tool. This was introduced with prior version of BusinessObjects, prior version of Web Intelligence and InfoView. However, it was a standalone tool. Now this becomes part of version 4.0 as an integrated solution that manages your version, manages your deployments to the various landscapes from development to QA, from QA to test, and from test to prod. So it allows the full end-to-end lifecycle management of your entire BI. Now, with the tighter integration with BW that we now have, lifecycle management takes on a whole new set of roles, and it is now able to integrate with SAP more closely to deal with the promotion of BW transports and cubes and queries. So we have the tighter integration into BusinessObjects of the BW components. We also have a new feature and command line options for lifecycle management. So we can have script-based promotions that we can easily execute remotely or on our servers via just the command line. These command line options allow us to export existing tasks, existing templates and jobs. So we have the ability to promote and manage the promotion process with the command line interface, and we can extract our buyer files, our lifecycle management buyer files, and we can promote them into the target environments, just all done with command line. So, as a conclusion to this presentation, I've put together a list of some references, some reference materials that is available, specifically related to BW integration of BusinessObjects 4.0, and that is available to you in this presentation.
Okay, thank you very much, Tom. And also, just in terms of, should you be thinking of doing a project converting BW reports to the business objects over the next 6 months or so, please get in contact with us. I mean, even if you're thinking of doing it internally or whatever else, we're more than happy to meet with you and you know, between myself, Tom, and some of the other consultants at Broad Street, give you some advice on what to do. So again, if you have any questions or you'd like to set up a meeting with us, please email paul.brohan@broadstreetdata.com. Anyway, I'd like to quickly thank Tom and all of our participants today. I hope you enjoyed our webinar, and I hope you'll come back for our next one. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.